Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about creating print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that is something that you're interested in, please do stick around. So in today's video, I'm going to show you guys how you can create this design right here. This is a great design for Cinco de Mayo, but it is also a nice evergreen that can sell year round. It is also a wonderful scalable design. So once you get your template, you can scale this out, to the hundreds or thousands. So if you would like to learn how to do this design right here, go ahead and stick around. So here we are on Canva's home page, and today I'm going to be making an evergreen design, but an evergreen design that you can use for Cinco de Mayo. So the great thing about doing evergreen designs for holidays is they can apply to the holiday, but then you can still sell them year round, which is always great. So we are going to be making a taco design using a popular design style that I'm going to show you guys how to do. So we're going to start up at the top right-hand side of the page where it says custom size, and we'll go ahead and click that. And because I'm going to be designing for a t-shirt, I'm going to go ahead and select 4500 by 5400 pixels for my size. And this will pull up a blank page. Now I am going to be designing for a darker color shirt, so I'm going to go ahead and set the background color to black. So I'll just go ahead and select my blank background. Go up to the top left-hand corner where it says background color. I'm going to click on that and then go ahead and select black for my background color. So this design is going to have a lot of different text and graphics associated with it. And what we're doing is sort of that, cell phone design that says tacos are calling and I must go. So we're going to have to create lots of text boxes here. So to pull up a text box on your page, all you have to do is hit T on the keyboard. That will pull up a text box. And so go ahead, let's just go ahead and start with tacos. And I'm going to go ahead and make that kind of big across the top. And we're going to get our text boxes lined up, and then we can play with them a little bit more. So there's one text box. And we're going to go ahead and just hit T again. It'll pull up another text box. In the top left-hand corner of a phone, you would have the time. You can pick any time you want, but I'm going to go ahead and pick 5 o'clock because, hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so why not? I think that'll go well with the design. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my 5 o'clock there. Now the right-hand side is going to have some different symbols that you would see on a phone, the battery, the Wi-Fi and whatnot. So we'll leave that alone. Here I'm going to go ahead and have some pictures of tacos. Then we're going to go ahead and have the buttons for accepting and declining. And then down here, I'm going to say, we're going to pull up another text box. It says, this is going to say ... right? And I must go. And so that is what's going to come along the bottom of the page there. I need one more text box here because this is going to say tacos and this is going to say are calling. And so are calling is going to go underneath tacos. And so you can already sort of see the way that this is looking. And what the heck, let's just pull up 2 more so I can go ahead and just do my little accept. Right, so that is going to be for 1. And I'm going to hit Control D, I'm going to make them the same size here, and decline. Okay. So here are my starting text boxes. So now I'm going to go ahead and pick my graphics, and then once we get all the graphics in, then we can start playing with the sizes and the fonts and making sure that everything, looks good in terms of a design, style. So let's go ahead and just start at the top, keep it easy. So what we need is sort of a Wi-Fi symbol and we need a battery symbol. So we're going to go to the left-hand side of the page where you see the tab that says Elements. If you click on that, we can go ahead and start searching elements. So let's just go ahead and start with battery because that's easy. Battery icon is what I'm going to put, and you will get tons of battery icons, so just like this. And so you can pick any that you want. If I'm trying to make it look as realistic as possible, like what your phone would likely look like, you're probably going to go ahead and start with maybe this top one here. And so that one's probably the most realistic. We're going to go ahead and change the color here to white so we can see it. And so that looks pretty good right there. I'm going to have to shrink it down, and that would go in the kind of top right-hand side of the page. So now let's go ahead, and from there, let's hit Wi-Fi icon. Oops. So I'm just going to go up to the top here, and I'm going to type Wi-Fi. I'll leave it saying icon. And so now you can see the different Wi-Fi icons. If you take a close look at your phone, if you want it to be as realistic as possible, odds are, depending on what kind of phone you have, this one right here is going to be pretty close. Again, I'm going to change the color to white so I can see it. And I'm going to shrink it way down. It's going to come up here too. And then there's going to be one more in terms of the bars, and we already have these bars here, so it's just going to be easy to go to Magic Recommendations, click See All, and let's go ahead and go with the bars. Let's just assume we have all of the bars here. Again, change that color to white, and we are going to shrink that way down. Now don't worry so much about the size and spacing right now. We'll take care of that once we get everything in place. And so now we've got sort of the top of the phone, and then now we need, obviously, some tacos and then some accept and decline buttons. So since we're on the cell phone, let's just go ahead and go with maybe like cell phone icons and see what happens. So here we've got the ones. So for example, this one here, which we can change the color of, this would be the one that you would use for accept. And it's typically a greenish color, something like that. Now we can see if we can find the exact ones. So you can see right there, that is what it looks like. Another example of the green one. And then you would have your decline, which is the phone going down like that. And you know, here you have it right here. And this actually has both of them, and this actually has both of them. I mean, so if you wanted to, we could just go ahead and select this one right here because it's got the white. This one has black. So let's go ahead and just do this. So here are my accept and decline buttons. Now, I don't really like how close they are together, so all I have to do is kind of get it around the size that I want, let's say about there. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it and then crop it. And so you're going to click on the icon, go ahead and hit Control D on your keyboard, and that's going to make another copy. So now you see we've got two copies here. So I'm going to go ahead and put the decline where I want it, the accept where I want it, and now we're just going to be cropping these down. So if we double click on these, oops, there it is. So if you double click on it, you should pull up, you know, it kind of looks like this where it's got little, you know, corner pieces. And then from there, you just click on the corner piece and you are going to drag straight across. So we're not dragging in, we're not resizing it, but we're going to crop and pull straight across. And that will crop that one down. And then we'll do the same thing here. We'll double click. And then we're going to go ahead, pick a corner and drag straight across. And that is how you should get both of your buttons exactly as you like it. So far, so good. Now here you can be as creative as you want. We're going to go ahead and pick some tacos. And so if I was to just put in tacos, you are going to see tons of different styles of tacos. So depending on how realistic you want this to look, or how cartoony, or how, you know, anything, you can be as creative as you want with this. I mean, so you could go simple like that. There's some, you know, kind of more cartoony tacos. I mean, you could pick any ones you want, tacos on a plate. And so you can see how you can just sort of play with this and pick really whatever tacos you like that you think look good. You can also go ahead and do photos as well. So if you really want it to look realistic, you can go ahead and pick any of these photos and do a background remover and see if you can just get the tacos. And that's another way that you could go about doing this. And so some of these would actually look probably really cool if we could go ahead and do a background remover. So let's just say we're going to do this one. Let's go to edit photo and see if this works. So let's go with background remover. And boom, so there you can see it got rid of the background. Now I'm going to get rid of the salsa too, but I might keep the limes. So all I have to do if I want to delete more would be I can adjust the brush size here. So I'm going to make the brush size nice and big. And then I'm just going to go ahead and erase the salsa because I don't really want that. I want the tacos to be the main focus. I'll leave the limes, and then we're just going to hit this back button up here. And there you have your tacos. So now I have my tacos are calling. And you can, now we can kind of play with the sizes and the fonts and all of that. But it was that easy to create. And once you get a cool template for this style of design, there is no limit to how much you can scale this out. Essentially, anything can be calling and you must go. So whatever you can possibly think of that you love is calling and you must go, and you can use this template. And so we can scale out hundreds, if not thousands of designs, depending on how creative you are. Just make sure you trademark check it to make sure that it's not trademarked. But other than that, the sky is the limit. And this is a great one that we can use, again, for Cinco de Mayo or any time of year. It just depends on what kind of keywords, titles, tags you use for people when they're searching. So that is that easy. So let's go ahead and start lining everything up and sizing it the way that we want. Now, I actually like this simple font here for most of this, so I don't necessarily see me changing the font on most of these. I might make tacos a little bit bolder, but other than that, I like it. So it's just going to be about spacing and resizing. So let's say we were going to go ahead and go with sort of the top. I'm going to use my rulers and guides. So on the tops and sides of the page, I have my rulers and guides. If your page doesn't have this, go ahead and hit Shift R on the keyboard. So Shift R, and that should pull up your rulers and guides. And from there, we can go ahead and make sure that everything is sized the way we want it. So for example, let's say I want to put little rulers and guides about, yay big, let's say for the top icon. So I want them to fit in there. I can start with my battery, and it fits in there pretty good. And then I'm going to have to just sort of go with all of the icons and shrink them down until they more or less fit inside the space. I maybe want the battery to be a little smaller in the space so I can center it in the space, move my Wi-Fi over, and then I've got my bars, shrink my bars down, and move my bars over, something like that. And then I've got my 5 o'clock, which I'm going to shrink down to make sure it fits in there. And make sure I've got about the same gap on the sides of the page. So let's say I want the same spacing side to side. And so right now that looks pretty good. I might go ahead, and because this is printed on a shirt and I want it to stand out, I might go ahead and make these a little bit bold. So I can make this font bold so that it looks good. So I like the way that that looks. They're all about the right size. What I might do is move it up higher in the page. So if I wanted to group all of these together to move them as one, I can go ahead and sort of click right outside, drag over all of these, but make sure I don't drag over anything else. Now they're grouped. So now I can just go ahead and click on this, and I can just move it right up the page, make sure I had it centered the way I wanted it, and then go ahead and click out. And so boom, now I've got the top of my page good, and I can move on from there. And so we're going to kind of work from top down to make sure everything is spaced good. So the next thing we've got is tacos, and that's going to go up pretty much as high as it can look good. I am going to make this a little bit bold. So this is one I might change the font on because I don't think that's bold enough. So you can search for whatever you want. So you can go corporate, display, you can search bold, narrow. So all different ways that you can search for fonts. Oops. If you know what font you want, you can type in the name of the font as well. So that's pretty easy. I did a search for bold, and up will come all of the different bold fonts. And from there, you can play with them. You can click and see if any of those look good. And so, all sorts of different ones that you could potentially play with to see how it looks. If you know which one you want, of course, it is always just easy to type that in. I do know the one I want. I want to see if I can find it really fast. Otherwise, I'll just type it in. So right here, Archivo Black. I like that one. It's a good bold one. It's nice and big. And I'm going to make that nice and big across the top of the page and make sure that that is centered in my page. So that looks pretty good, pretty centered right there. Next, I have my R calling. That's going to come up just below tacos. I do want to keep that bold, but I'm going to keep the same font there. And I might go ahead and stick with that sizing for now. Bring my tacos up. I'm going to crop this down so that the tacos are pretty evenly spaced. Do have those limes. So something there looks good. We're going to have to pull this down a little bit to make these fit. So make sure those are lined up nicely and make sure that they are equal distance, from the side of the page there. So something like that looks good. And then I can pull my buttons down and center them in line with the words. And so something there is starting to look pretty good. Now you may have to play with the sizes if you didn't get the sizes right, so you can make them bigger, smaller. Just make sure that at the end of the day, these are all the same size and they are in line with one another. If you're not sure, use your rulers and guides and pull down lines to make sure that everything looks like it's lining up, properly. I'm going to go ahead and make these bold as well, just so I want them to be easily seen on a shirt. But I do like the font, and it's always easy if the font is something simple like this, because that just saved me a ton of time, whereas sometimes I will spend 20 minutes looking for the right font, but something like this made it really easy. And so I've got my tacos. I can even make those bigger since they are the star of the design, just as long as they look like they are spaced pretty evenly in the page. That looks pretty nice there. And so I'm just giving it one more quick look over, and I actually like the way it looks. So just like that, it could be literally ready to go on a shirt. Everything looks good. I like the spacing. I like everything else. If you're not sure, you can move things up, down, whatever. If you want to make tiny adjustments, you can use the arrows on your keyboard. So for example, the up, down, right, left arrows, if you click on those, you can move any element 1 pixel at a time. And so that is how you can make itty bitty little micro adjustments. If you're having trouble moving things, that small with your mouse, that is another easy one to do right there. So I just gave myself a little bit more space, and that looks pretty nice. Now, if I want to scale this out, because I think it looks pretty cool and I might want to scale it out to other designs, all I'd have to do is come to the top here where it says duplicate page, that little plus sign, click on that, and it'll pull up another page. And from there, what you would do is get rid of your tacos, and then all you have to do is change the word up here to whatever you want and put in a new picture. And that is it. And again, so we can make this template go out as far as we want, or we could do multiple versions of this too. So I made that look pretty realistic, but let's say I wanted to go with more of the cartoony version. I can go back over to graphics, and again, I could, try to find a graphic that I like, that I think looks good. And so depending on the style I want to go with, I could do something like that. Now I've got more tacos. I could put up a lot of versions of the same shirt and just keep making multiple versions with different looking tacos, to kind of get all the different styles out there depending on what people like. This might even look cool because I got this one, which would just be in white. And that might look like it goes pretty cool with this, right? So there you go. Tacos are calling and I must go. That's a funny one right there. And we've already got the sombrero. So that looks pretty awesome. I see some of these tacos have sombreros on them, so there's no end to creativity in terms of what you can do. And again, if you're trying to make it a Cinco de Mayo design, you could add some Cinco de Mayo flair to it as well. And so quick design, but can be scaled out dramatically once you go ahead and get your layout. So I hope you guys found this useful. We are going to go ahead and download this. By the way, if you have more than one page, you can title each page separately so that you know which one it is. So tacos are calling. And then I'm going to put photo because that's my photo one right there. I could do the same thing here and put tacos are calling. And then just graphic, or black and white graphic, or sombrero, whatever you can think of that's going to make it so that you know which one that is. And then from there, I can go up to the top where it says share. Click that. I'm going to go down to where you see download. Now we're going to leave it alone, so it's a PNG. We do need it to be a transparent background. This is where you do, by the way, have to have that pro feature, but it's totally worth it. And then you're going to select your pages. So if there's more than one page, you select which page you want. So we want just page 1. And then we can go ahead and hit download. It will download that and it is ready to go on a shirt or anything else that you want to put it on. I designed this for a shirt, but there's no saying that you couldn't put it on any number of other items. So I hope you guys found this useful. If you have any questions about this technique, drop it in the comments section below. I'll try to get back to you guys as quickly as I can. If you have, video requests, you can put it in there as well, and I can try to add you guys to my list. I do have a list coming up of different videos, to correlate with some of the events that are coming up here in the future. So this week is going to be Cinco de Mayo. Next week, I've got some videos planned for Mother's Day. And again, both this week and next week are going to be designs that we can use for Cinco de Mayo and for Mother's Day, but they're also evergreens. So they're ones that could potentially sell all year round, which is great. So I hope you guys are doing really well. I hope your sales are going great, and I do hope to see you guys again. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.